It's like July last year. It's like July last year, yes, yes. Well, now we move on. Jerome Paul, what do you have for us in the dailies?
Well, from the dailies, we start off with what the New Vision is highlighting, and of which deadlock as URA and traders clash on taxes. As the strike now enters day 2, experts are giving solutions in today's New Vision. Then public service petitioned over PS Sally and lawyer saga. Find more about it in the New Vision. FDC's Eperu bows out. Find more about that report still in the New Vision. Now, Muslims win big ahead of Eid al-Fitr celebrations. Read about it as the Muslims are gearing up for D-Day tomorrow. Now, the Daily Monitor. Strike deals heavy blow to businesses, as the Daily Monitor is giving you details of the same. The tax battle. Shoppers from across the country and neighboring states did remain stranded on the day of a strike that choked tax collection, brought police and the army on streets, and cut off livelihoods for hundreds of menial laborers. The Daily Monitor gives you details. Now, vandalism costing us arm and leg, says the ICT sector. Daily Monitor is giving you more. Then celebrating 20 years of UPE in the Rainbow magazine. You can read about it still in today's Daily Monitor. Now, Muslims to celebrate Eid al-Fitr tomorrow, says the Daily Monitor. And also UPDF starts using new structure as what police officers have recorded in PS Sally brawl with lawyer. More about that is in the Daily Monitor today. Now, away from the Daily Monitor, we cross the borders to Kenya with the Daily Nation, as the Daily Nation is saying Musalia to fold ANC in grand UDA plan. Politics. DP Rigathi Gachagua wants only one deputy party leader position in the UDA. Will that be possible? More of that is in the Daily Nation. Then patients' agony as medics take to streets in Kenya. Also matters education. Performances light up schools drama festival. In the Daily Nation still, traffic nightmare as travelers stranded for over 24 hours. Where was that? As a move by the Kenya National Highway Authority to close a section of the Nairobi-Mombasa highway for repairs led to a traffic mess, as highlighted with the Daily Nation. Now, new school textbooks on the way in the first review of the CBC system, as also we're watching the sunset is worth every penny. Read about that in the Daily Nation. Now, lastly, from our press review is the Citizen newspaper in Tanzania. Anti-flooding project set to take off in Dar, says the Citizen. Then in the Rising Woman Citizen series, how Alfonsina is fighting for you on the health front. Then also read about Makonda, who says I'm still on fire. Then 15 die as TMA warns of more heavy rains. More of the highlights are with the Citizen. Then lastly, Chadema bigwigs line up for internal elections. Citizen newspaper is giving you details of that. And well, that is it for our press review on day 100 of 2024.
Day 100 of 2024. Interesting. I didn't know you were keeping count. Chirabo, did you even know? Did you have any idea? Oh, Chantal, did you know?
Once in a while, but today I didn't.
I usually look at quarterly. Now the first quarter is finished, the second quarter is finished.
I also look at the quarters. Well, we'll leave you with Michael W. Smith with Crimson Dust. And when we come back, we'll be having a conversation with URA and Kasita regarding the EFRIS saga that they are embroiled in with traders. Stay around.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Morning rush, rising heat, crowded road, shuffling feet. Suddenly, there's a chill, hammerings from a hill.
It is, you know, when you've mentioned the fact that tomorrow is going to be a beautiful day, I think it's going to be the most beautiful day of this week. Simply because of our Muslim brothers and sisters are going to be celebrating Eid al-Fitr. We have many viewers of the sort as well. So for all of you who have been fasting, remember, for those who did not fast or had issues during the fasting, you'll have to fast for 60 days. I've seen memes that are saying, Musirambu lijokwatayo nkaaga. So that is what will happen. But besides that, here we are. It's Tuesday. I think everyone should be pretty much excited, apart from the traders in Kampala who are yet to receive answers from the Uganda Revenue Authority in regards to IFRIS. Yesterday they were on strike. Many had closed down their shops in Chikubo, around Chikubo, so pretty much around Kampala, where many of the traders were not happy or are not happy with IFRIS, which to many believe is a tax, but URA is saying it isn't. And so the viewer out there should know it isn't a tax, but a system that has been put in place, or that was put in place 4 years back to help you track on your sales and also to help you through when it comes to auditing. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. Good morning and many thanks for joining us.
That is Jerome Paul Sonko. I think in a few hours, we may be waking up to Kasim, Karim, and the like, because the only way you can hook a hajat is if you convert. And so we have names that we are gathering for Sonko. And Chantal Olive, I know you have a special interest in Eid tomorrow. Good morning.
See how I'm looking at you right now. I do have a special interest in Eid tomorrow because we are brothers and sisters and we believe in God, all of us. And yes, I do wish our Muslim brothers and sisters a happy Eid. And I would love to say that you've done pretty well for yourselves by undertaking this task and fasting all the days that you have. Yeah, for you who missed, you have 60 days, and in those 60 days you have to cover up for those that you missed. So you have another chance. If you fell sick, unfortunately, if you are not in position to, to fast for various reasons, hopefully you get to cover up for those days that you missed. Otherwise, welcome to the show. My name is Chantal Olive Akandinda. And yesterday's issue on social media, especially about IFRIS. Now, some people didn't know that IFRIS was a system. They thought it was a tax. And I believe those are things now that have to be explained to the traders for them to be able to understand. But if you have noted carefully, you'll realize that the prices of services and commodities are going up because almost everywhere there is people now being taxed and people getting in the know of the taxes they have to pay. Some seem unfair, and this is where the explanation has to come in. And I believe after the explanations have been given, maybe, just maybe, we will know what to do next. But for the prices increasing, I don't know if any of you have noticed, but the prices are going up and it's alarming.
Well, it so happens that IFRIS, that the traders are complaining about, URA took its time. It was rolled out way before the pandemic, and we took a break. Then after, it was again rolled out. But there was education, at least according to URA. They are saying they took time to educate the traders about IFRIS. They first rolled it out in supermarkets and then they took it downtown. Maybe the problem here is still understanding what IFRIS is really about, because URA may say we took time to, to teach the traders about this, but they are still not cognizant with it, and maybe be given an extension to further understand how the system works instead of thinking that these are new taxes being introduced. Oh, Mr. Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono, good morning, and how are you this morning?
Well, from this time I'm ready. Until after
that was fast.
Yes, after tomorrow.
I like the speed. I like how that you're working. I see your mind.
No, first and foremost, those are my in.
So yesterday there was a standoff between security agencies and traders downtown. Traders downtown were trying to rally others to close their shops, close business as a way of rebelling against the Uganda Revenue Authority's e-tax system, EFRIS. And many of them are calling this system an added tax. But is it an added tax or a receipting system by Uganda Revenue Authority? Of course, traders have other concerns that were raised, and we will delve deeper into those. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and on set with me this morning is Ibrahim Bossa, the Assistant Commissioner, Public and Corporate Affairs at Uganda Revenue Authority, but also Joshua Mawerere, the Chairperson, Kasita Youth League, will be having this conversation with me. But to get a clear understanding of what EFRIS means, let's first talk to Mr. Bossa from URA for us to understand, is this an e-receipting system or is it an added tax that traders are not happy about? Good morning, Mr. Bossa.
A very good morning, and it's lovely to be on UBC for our viewers. Morning, Joshua. The EFRIS system that is formally talked about is simply a digital transaction e-receipting system, and the purpose it serves is to be able to carry data, transaction data, for a business, for its operations, but also interface with the Uganda revenue systems. So ideally, for the business part of it, any user of EFRIS will be able to manage their bookkeeping, which is a very big challenge for many businesses, and many businesses that struggle with non-compliance, failing to file returns or late return filing, for where they get penalties and fines, is because of poor bookkeeping system. So it's a system that will help organize, especially for small and medium-sized type of businesses. It will help businesses in be able to monitor their purchases. You'll be able to stock manage. You are able to manage your sales, and also to be able to file returns on time and accurately. So it is a package that was brought to help a business, one, be able to organize, but also be able to comply with obligations of taxation. On the part of the Uganda Revenue Authority, this system helps us to monitor the collection of value-added tax. So what it means, first of all, it is not a tax, which is EFRIS. Electronic physical receipting and invoicing is a solution for business, not a tax, but it helps us to monitor value-added tax. Why do we have to monitor value-added tax? VAT is a consumption tax that is paid by the final consumer. So the other second point people need to pick here is that if you're a VAT-registered business, you do not pay VAT tax. You are simply a collector of this tax. How do you collect it? Usually, for any business, you will have purchases you'll buy. If, for example, you're in Chikubo, those purchases come with the VAT component on it. That is your input VAT. Then you'll have to make a sale. As a VAT-registered client, you are expected to put 18% on the sale you make, and that becomes your output VAT. What do you pay to URA? You get your output VAT minus your input VAT. The difference is what you give to URA. That is the tax you have collected. Meaning, VAT does not affect a business's capital, does not affect the operating expenses of a business, does not affect the profitability of a business. But what has been happening? For a long time, many businesses, not only in Chikubo, have had the habit of collecting VAT, because VAT has been here for a long time, and we have been using manual systems. But they have been collecting VAT and not remitting it. And how do you know? One, for the couple of months we have been in Chikubo supervising VAT, which people call an enforcement, the collection in VAT has risen 500%. That sends you a message. If you look at the region, Uganda was the last country between Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda to be able to adopt VAT. Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda average a collection of 35% to their total revenue collection in VAT. How much is Uganda collecting in VAT? We are at 15%. VAT only contributes 15% of our entire collection. Yet experience shows that world over, VAT is one of the best performing taxes. So as a country, we have had leakages in terms of VAT, and we needed a solution, we needed a platform, we needed a system that can create transparency between the collectors of this tax, these are the VAT registered businesses, and of course the taxman. Now, it's also important, thirdly, to note who is a VAT registered taxpayer. You are only VAT registered if your annual turnover, annual gross turnover is 150 million shillings and above. If you are below, there's nothing for you to do with VAT. So that is something that is also critical. And that's why we're saying many of the people who closed shop yesterday actually are not even VAT registered taxpayers. They have nothing to do with VAT. They have no reason absolutely why they're closing shop. The only people that are concerned with VAT are those who have registered on the register and have a turnover of 150 million shillings. And these people we know. In Uganda, we have 56,000 VAT registered taxpayers. So these are the people who probably should be making a lot of noise. So we realize that somehow this issue has been misinterpreted, it has been misinformed, but I think there are people who are also selfishly having ulterior motives. Why do we believe so? Think about it. The IFRS solution on the side of the taxpayer will help us to see people who are doing tax evasion. It will help us to see people who are doing invoice trading. It will help us to see people who are suppressing sales. If all these things sound a bell, you may be in business and you know what we are talking about. So anybody who has been profiteering in this kind of underhand methods would be uncomfortable in one way or another for a solution that is creating transparency. So bottom line, IFRS has brought unprecedented transparency to the discomfort of many of our traders. And we believe that one, we are dealing with a knowledge gap in terms of how the system can help business. But two, we're also dealing with a technology adoption problem. In Uganda, usually technology takes a while, just like in many third world countries, probably. I think we have a very recent example of the scratch cards. When we were removing scratch cards from Uganda for airtime, the whole country went up in arms. The members of parliament went up in arms. People said it was impossible. We cannot be able to load airtime without scratch cards. Today, as we speak, we do not have scratch cards, and we're enjoying telecommunications. So even what we're going around in this regard is a technology adoption. It needs to be managed, and as URA, we are committed to be able to handhold, to be able to educate, to be able to create the necessary awareness for people to adopt this. It will take a while, it may be a little painful, but we believe that we'll get there. IFRS is not a tax, but it is a business solution that will help a business, one, monitor its performance, be more effective, because with IFRS you don't need an accountant. Many small businesses will not be able to afford an accountant for bookkeeping purposes, for stock management, for filing returns, and this is a solution to be able to help you. We need to have this message going down, and those individuals who are probably misleading, because people were writing yesterday and they are sellers of sandals, sellers of bananas, and these people have nothing to do with IFRS. But you realize that somebody has bandwagon them. There is an element where people talk about the taxes, the VAT, the way it works. If you pay VAT on electricity, on water, on your supplies, and you're VAT registered, all that is your input VAT. You will subtract it from your output VAT. At the end of the day, you will not have paid VAT. I had many people saying, you see, we pay VAT on rent, VAT on electricity, VAT on ABCD. You will pay that if you're not VAT registered. But if you are a business that is registered on VAT, does not pay VAT tax. That is the tax to the final consumer.
Well, Mr. Ibrahim, I like your argument, but let's go back to Kasita and Mr. Mawere. First of all, let's go back to the electronic, to the e-receipting system. How familiar are traders with this system?
Thank you so much, and I'm glad to be here. Good morning, viewers, and good morning, my colleagues. One, I love what Mr. Boss has said, and the biggest issue about IFRS is information. And the traders, you know, trade is one profession that attracts everybody. All walks of life, literate, non-literate, those who know what it means to trade, those who don't know what it means to trade, they learn as they do business. Now, many of them don't understand when you talk about INFRIS. That is number one. But also two, INFRIS is coming at a time where Ugandans have just moved out of COVID-19.
Yes.
And many of them are still struggling with paying bank loans that are staggered over time, over those 2 years. They are working on regaining resilience in their businesses. Many of them lost employees and employers. And so there's a lot of, a basket of things that traders are dealing with. And this is the time that INFRIS is coming in. Now, our only issue mainly is if you are married and your mother starts saying, if you're going to buy bed sheets for your bed, I need to know. If you're going to buy food home, I need to know as your mother.
Okay, relate this to the tax,
And,
to the e-receipting system.
That's what the e-receipt system is going to be doing, or what it's proposed to do. And the biggest, that's not the biggest issue that it should come. The issue we are handling is, what is the main objective of URA with the e-receipting system? And what threats does it cause to businesses vis-a-vis the advantages?
Now, as someone that is coming from the business side of
now,
things,
from the business,
what threat is posed by the e-receipting system?
Thank you so much. From the business side of things, is URA is walking a path where it wants to collect. And the traders are in a space where they are saying, we're already overburdened and we're trying to survive in our businesses. Can we look at how do you help us survive than how you look at how than putting your emphasis on how to collect?
Okay, you did mention something to do with if you're getting married and your parent says everything you want to do, I need to know. So is the problem that traders don't want URA to be poking its nose in their entire business? Or is it that they are not trusting URA's systems? Are they transparent, in your opinion, or not?
You know, we don't have 100% trust in the system for two reasons. One, URA will have all the information it needs. We're okay with that. But the issue is, how does that benefit the business? For us as traders, our biggest call is to survive in this business, make it work, be able to give livelihoods to our children and our families. Now, URA's cause is to collect, and everybody knows that. It's to collect. So when they bring up something, it is to collect. Even when we want to support it, we want URA to move an extra mile from our past collection and be responsible for the business to survive. Because URA itself had a report saying many businesses have closed in this country and they have left. And we have a record of also very many Ugandan businesses that have closed and never come back to work. And what does this mean? That URA, as opposed to focusing on getting to collect everything and put it in the consolidation fund, they should be able to help the other government agencies to focus on frugal ways of handling incomes, the revenues that come in, so that URA gives some spacers in the way it collects taxes. So,
Mr. Bossa, it seems like the issue, yes, INFRIS may have started the conversation, but it does look like traders are actually act by more than the INFRIS system. They act by what they call taxes, and they feel the URA is just about picking or gaining, collecting more and more, and not giving them a breather. What would you say about that?
First of all, I would like to thank Joshua's comment, because it speaks to tax morale in this country. The way we sometimes use our taxes causes some low tax morale, and we have seen this maybe in exhibitions and things of the kind. Of course, if I am paying taxes, I am in the 40% bracket of taxes. Trust me, I feel the pinch. If I'm driving out of my home and I am seeing that the road is not made I feel where my tax is going. So there is that social contract that we need to be able to bridge as a country between our citizens who are paying taxes and definitely what the taxes are doing. So that is a very valid point. And I am very sure we are well aware about it. The government is very well aware of it, and that's why probably we have a revenue mobilization strategy for this country. It is supposed to guide us on how to bridge that social contract between revenue mobilization and what people would expect in terms of taxation. But bring back to the matter, I do not think that that is a reason for people to close shop or go out on the street to strike, because we have undertaken dialogue, we do tax education, we do engagements in terms of sensitization. There are many problems that traders have had today that we have been able to resolve through dialogue. And this is not a reason to get people out on the street. People even know that there's progress being made on a number of points that have been presented to the government. They have an issue with the duty of garments being charged in kilos, and it's being handled by the Ministry of Finance. It has been escalated to the cabinet of this country. They know the process, and we expect something good out of that. We also believe that, yes, I think that something has to be reviewed. They have issues with traders, actually investors, coming into this country, posing as investors, but end up in the retail and the kuiriba and this kind of business. And we also feel that that is a distortion of the value chain. This has been taken up, and it is being acted upon with authorities that need to be doing this.
Actually, but someone here is asking, yes, why are URA officers concerned about traders kuiriba?
Actually, we are not concerned. What the traders have done, especially the Kasita, and we have to thank them, they have actually been able to indulge us and educate us more on how they work. That helps us also improve our tax administration. What we are doing in Chikubu, for example, is supervising VAT registered taxpayers. We have nothing to do with the Muyiribi. If you are not VAT registered, we have no business with you. What we want to do is that these VAT registered taxpayers, are they doing what is obligated by them? And this is just one or two things. One, are they issuing e-receipts or invoices? That's why our staff will go, if they see a truck offloading or unloading, they will come to find out, where is this merchandise coming from? Is it coming from a VAT registered taxpayer? If so, they want to go back and make sure this person issued an invoice. If not, we have no business. But we know the discomfort this creates, because sometimes you will be stopped, you will be asked for a receipt, and when they realize that you are not a VAT registered person, they'll let you go. So the person will ask, then why did you stop me in the first place? You're inconveniencing me, you're wasting my time. That inconvenience is there, and we need to apologize for it. And that enforcement is not to go on for the long term. We are basically just setting a baseline so that we know how the monitoring should go. So people should bear with us and know, if you are not VAT registered, you are not part of our enforcement, you're not part of our monitoring. We are looking for VAT registered clients. But because they do not understand that, because that message probably has been misinterpreted, and it is also possible that we may be having a few of our staff down there that may not be doing the right thing, because we hear people saying that, oh, somebody asked me for Chintu Chidogo, somebody was heavy-handed and ABCD, and that's not what we stand for.
And that's where I will go to Mr. Mawere, because yes, I saw him nodding his head in agreement. And I'll ask you, have you experienced any instances of unfair treatment in your assessment process? And also, is what Mr. Bossa is saying true, that some of their officers are asking for kitu kidogo downtown?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very happy that Mr. Bossa knows that and he acknowledges it, because we share, like he rightly says, we share a lot of information between Kasita and URA. One, INFRIS doesn't have any problem, like I said, but the administration becomes a problem sometimes for taxes. We have, because INFRIS is being enforced, many forces, armed people, have been pushed down to our trading side. And you can imagine having 8 armed people surrounding one border guy who has luggage or commodities for somebody, and they're asking for the INFRIS, and the guy never understands anything like INFRIS. And so there are two things. One, you ride back to where you bought the things, or you have to show cause and show the invoice receipt. Now, this is inconveniencing, like he rightly says, but also, secondly, many of them have started resorting to taking a bribe from the person. So the border guy will call and say, I've been stopped here and there is one, so can you talk to them? And the person says, give me something, and then the person goes. So we have seen increase in levels of extortion from traders by the URA enforcers. And I think that is causing a lot of unrest within the traders. But also, secondly, we want to see URA on board taxpayers. And as opposed to being an authority, I think there should be a service end where you attract people to onboard, not enforcing people to onboard. And when you...
So in your opinion, you feel like right now it is more of enforcing
coercion.
Or even forcing, for lack of a better word.
It is coercion to onboard. And I think that speaks to the fact that the way it's being rolled out is not appropriate. Also, too, there's lack of information. URA needs to do a lot of appeals to make sure that people understand what it's doing and be able to onboard people willingly.
Mr. Bossa did say that URA is open to dialogue and that they have actually engaged in dialogue with traders. Is this true, or you feel like there are gaps that need to be covered?
It is very right. The URA has engaged Casita and other traders most of the times. They are doing a lot of stakeholder engagement with us, and we appreciate that. The issue is at the rate of response. URA as itself, it's an entity that cannot, it's not an end in itself. So the entire process has a lot of other people that have to agree to what we have proposed or to the engagements that we've had. And what we are saying, actually this demonstration is not only about URA. It's about the entire system. We're saying, you know, we need to speed up because this is business. And as long as you delay to make a decision today, the next moment you are out of business because of that late decision. So we need processes to be faster, URA to act faster, and all the other players within the chain to be able to work out faster. But also we want to have the freedom to do business. You know, when taxes come in and look like they are being slapped on the businesses. The businesses have to, one, adjust, learn, and then adjust to fit into that kind of new enrollment. And what space do we have to do that? We need to be given space. Onboard something, put the right information out, let the people gradually onboard onto the system, and then we can evaluate and say how many have onboarded. What is the good in that? Can we have testimonies? Now,
for instance, the e-receipting system. Mr. Bossa, when did this come up?
E-receipting was introduced in 2019, but implementation was 2021 because of the COVID. And we took it gradually. We first went to the large taxpayers, then went to the medium-sized taxpayers, like the hotels, like supermarkets and hardwares. And now we need to complete the value chain by going to the likes of the Chikubo, because remember, supermarkets also buy from people like Chikubo. If a supermarket has not received an e-receipt, they cannot claim their credit. So you have to complete the loop. So it is only taking a little longer, because if you see in terms of engagement, in terms of tax education and sensitization, since November last year to last month, we have been in Chikubo. We have done over 80 workshops in Chikubo that average about 160 participants each. We have done visits to arcades, 110 arcades. We have done door-to-door visits, going to one trader to another. On our record, we have over 15,000 traders that we visited that have gotten support from us. We have instituted a tax hub. For 10 days, they gave us permission to have a tax hub in the middle of Chikubo for 10 days straight. Over 435 people were able to register, having gotten help. So the engagement is there, and it can't stop. Because in this business, people come in, others leave. So that is a continuous process.
Where have you met the most resistance?
I think the most resistance has been that when this solution was first introduced to Chikubo, first of all, they said it was expensive, because we had introduced the EFDs, electronic electronic physical devices. And it's true, because they were costing about 1.1 million shillings. In fact, some of them, about 400 of them, were given free to them, but they didn't use them. And when the Commissioner General, Mr. John Musinguzi, visited Chikubo in November, they said that we need a solution that is cost effective. And he promised that we will do so. And we also want to be educated, and he said we would be able to do so. Between that time, we have developed a desktop application that you can put on a standalone computer or a tablet. We have developed a mobile app that you can put on your smartphone. If you can do a mobile money transaction, you can actually use IFRIS on your phone. So that was our response to show that we care about their concerns and we're finding solutions to mitigate and shorten the customer journey. Interestingly, in spite of that, still the uptake has been very low, and that is why we need to supervise those only who are supposed to be VAT registered. So the technology adoption is taking a little longer, but also we are seeing deliberate elements that decide to misinform. That's why somebody who vendors bananas is making noise about IFRIS, and IFRIS has nothing to do with them. So you realize that there's also that information gap that we need to close, but we need to close it together. We have demonstrated credentials of integrity. URA in the last 4 years has dismissed or terminated over 100 staff on the account of corruption. More staff than have been dismissed on the same over the last 20 years. And we are saying if there is an issue of integrity, an issue of corruption with our staff, the leaders, the traders, let us know. Because now we have the systems and the means to do something about it. We have an entire department for staff compliance. Staff compliance is the equivalent of the police standards unit. All this is to ease the way we interact with traders.
Well, we have some feedback coming through. Someone says URA should stop twisting our words, making it seem like we said IFRIS is a tax. Yes, it's a system, but they know that what they are doing, the 18%, they are double taxing us and have sent armed men in our shops and roads. We did try the dialogue, but they are just pushing their narratives and they aren't listening to us as well. In a few seconds, Mr. Joshua, respond to that.
That trader is, I think that one is a trader. They are very right.
They send armed people into your shop?
Yes, they do. And we've complained about this because the environment looks very hostile when you have one KCCA comes in with armed people. Then you have URA with armed people, you have UNBS with armed people. Now, the entire business environment is very hostile for us. We can't do business like that. So that one should be revised on the approach. Then secondly, the double taxation bit. I think the traders are feeling uncomfortable and they call it a double taxation because they feel that they are buying VAT registered commodities from different industries. And then even at the shop side, they are registering VAT. But Mr. Boss has explained that it's a consumptive tax.
It's a consumption.
Yes,
consumption tax.
I also needed Mr. Bossa to respond to the same.
But Mr. Bossa, just for the take home, we think that there are many other peaceful ways on how we can have the traders on board. And we also recognize that there is a cost to start using IFRIS. You must have a smartphone and download the app. Or you have a desktop or something like that.
Mr. Boyeri, are you saying that traders downtown do not have smartphones, that they need to first buy the phones to have the application, the IFRIS application?
It will be false to assume that everybody with a shop has a smartphone.
Okay.
I think that it wouldn't be right for us to have that assumption.
Okay.
So I am believing that still the traders and URA can work on something that works for all. But most importantly, we need sensitization, we need appeals. If it means to have a marketing appeal or a sensation appeal that goes for saloon people, that goes for garages, that goes for Chikubo people, for all the dealers, I think let's have that. Even those that are not in the tax bracket, I think we need to have that appeal and say, you know, you people, you are not supposed to be in the tax bracket. Let people know. I think it's important. And that's where the confusion comes from.
Mr. Bossa did say that there are some elements that are misleading some people. And you as a person that deals with traders and is also a trader yourself, is there truth to this allegation? Are there some people, because of reasons known by themselves, that are trying to instigate others into, you know, into what happened yesterday? For instance, if someone is selling bananas on the street, why are they in the first place complaining about taxes? Do banana sellers pay taxes?
Banana sellers will usually be below a turnover of 10 million. Anybody whose turnover in a year is less than 10 million does not pay income tax.
Yeah. So what's happening down there is that, one, Mr. Bosa says it rightly, we have some people who are just excavating the situation.
The already dire situation.
Maybe they are getting from it. But as Kasita, we have a track record of having serious engagements with all the parties to make sure that we come to amicable solutions. And then we vividly put out the right information to traders. But also, two, there are people who are doing that because they don't know. They're not informed. So it's out of ignorance that somebody is participating and somebody is pushing for it and somebody is treating. Then there is also a side of excitement. We have also those people who just get excited and push, and they don't own any business, but because they are around a certain shop and something is happening, they join in. So I think that those are all into play, but URA is very much aware that Kasita will stand for the truth and will push for the best of the traders.
Now, Mr. Bosa, there is a question here for you, and please leave your names when you send in your comments and questions. That would be very helpful. But this person says, how can one set up a big business in town when they do not when they are not VAT registered? And he ends by saying those are liars. What's your response to that?
So the VAT registered persons, or those that are obligated to be on the VAT register, of course, are those that meet the threshold. There are people who meet the threshold and sometimes are still not within our radar. The beauty today is that the systems that we have implemented give us visibility on who has met that kind of threshold for us to make an assessment. If you make a supply to a supermarket, to a big business, given the quantities of supply and how frequently you supply, when that entity makes a return, we're able to have that information and know that at least probably you are either hitting that threshold or not. The threshold I'm talking about is 150 million a year, but even when you make 37.5 million shillings in 3 consecutive months, that is an indication that you are able to do so. So these people need onboarding. Sometimes people will not come and raise up their hand and say, oh, I've hit the 150 mark. It is we who may have to come, make an assessment and tell them, you know what, you now meet the threshold and these are things that you need to be able to do. So onboarding of taxpayers on the tax register is an ongoing thing that we do, and that is why the Commissioner General and PSFU are really committed to put a business hub for business facilitation, not for tax collection, within Chikobo, to be able to handhold, to be able to facilitate, to be able to sensitize. If a business or a taxpayer has an issue with usage, access of what is needed, they have some things that do not add up, you are able to come there without any fear that somebody is going to give you an assessment so that you can just get help. That is one of our ways to respond to some of the gaps we are now listening to, so that people have a comfortable area that they can go to because I have a problem, because I need support, because I need hand-holding, because I need to be sensitized. We hope in that way, if we are working with the traders and having that direction, we will be able to get the necessary engagement, the necessary education to be able to push it forward. What we are doing in Chikobo right now is, on top of supervising VAT-registered taxpayers, we also know that there are some taxpayers that were onboarded on the VAT register that do not meet the threshold.
Yes.
We are deregistering them. But we're also looking out for those now whose circumstances have changed and have now got into the bracket. We do the assessment and say, you know what, I think now you meet that criteria, so this is what you need to do. So basically that is what we're doing. It's unfortunate that probably some people have been, inconvenienced. The Commissioner General has given a directive on the strategic deployment of our security, because our security is for our staff.
Yes.
Sometimes our staff have been locked into warehouses and things of the kind, so they need some kind of protection. Traders can also be traders at the end of the day, but we will be strategically deploying them so that they are not an inconvenience to business, so that they are not there to intimidate anybody who is doing business, and this is a learning process for both of us.
Well, you have another question here, and this one is in regards to the Commissioner, I think. He says, when should we expect the executive to give us their stand on issues forwarded to their tables, as said by the Commissioner?
Okay. Now, we need to separate two aspects. There are aspects in taxes that are of an administration nature, tax administration. Those are within the ambit of the Commissioner General and his entire team. And those ones usually we have engaged with the traders and they will know how we are progressing. Sometimes we agree to disagree. And I remember at last time when we had issues of valuation, we even agreed to come up with a research team composed of our experts and the experts from the traders to go around the region to be able to do this kind of research. These ones we have, and those ones I think are not problematic because they're within our ambit. Those that are of a policy nature are different. We also have now to work with the traders, have a proposal, put it to the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance will table it in Parliament or even up to Cabinet. Now, those ones also have a process. And the traders' leadership knows this, okay? So things that are of a policy nature may not be resolved by a tax administrator like ourselves very quickly. But we can always support and advise the government because we have the advisory role. If something falls within tax administration, that is within our ambit, and we even give a time frame. If it is difficult, if it needs research, if it needs more observation, we always talk about this with the traders. They may not be happy about it, but they know at the end of the day, we will have a resolution. There are many things we have resolved in business together with the traders. That is why we think nobody should be on the street when there is still opportunity for dialogue.
Well, we are having a conversation with URA and Casita regarding the e-receipting system that traders, some were calling an added tax, but others were saying they were not given enough time to acclimatize with it, and hence they called upon other traders countrywide to close shop and not do any business. And yesterday there was a standoff between URA, between traders and security agencies regarding the same, and a few people were even arrested. Now, according to the traders, and Mr. Murray, I stand to be corrected, someone says that the reason why they are striking is the FRS system should go back to manufacturers and big suppliers, but not small businesses. They are saying impractical 3.0 and 3.5 USD per kilogram import duty on garments and textiles, and they say they want 25% import duty on these items. Then violation of trade order where manufacturers end up wholesaling and retailing to the end user, especially the Chinese. Also high import values where old ones are making it hard for traders to clear their goods. And the last one, high cost of living where most of the essential goods are becoming unaffordable to the common man. Are these your reasons?
Yes, rightly they are. And like I said at the start, that this strike is not, it looks like it's focusing on URA only, but it's the entire system that we're looking at. And I said that we just from COVID-19, and so we have other aspects we're dealing with. We're dealing with banks, we're dealing with registration of businesses, we're dealing with now URA taxes. So it's a basket of things. And one person, the trader, has to focus on all these. You have to focus on paying your rent at the end of the month. You have to pay URA, you have to pay KCCA, you have to pay. So this is one person who is thinking about all these. And we are saying that the way they are being put together and administered is the problem. Many of the things we're talking about, the taxes are too high. If taxes start eating up the little profit that somebody is looking for, then what's the meaning of doing business? That's number one. And we are saying that the taxes are too high. They need to be revised. Two, we are talking about the trade order. You cannot have investors manufacture, supply to wholesale, because they have opened up wholesale shops. Then they also go ahead and open up retail shops. They even go ahead and go to moving markets to sell their products. And a trader in Chikubo has committed 60 million to buy those products. So you buy, take to Chikubo, and the organization you bought from takes to the last mile. So that's the fourth is the fact that we need to have proper onboarding of taxation.
Well, you've heard from Kasita representation, and this is this is Mr. Joshua Maria. I was about to call you doctor. Maybe it's in the works for you.
Amen.
But also, we were having this conversation with URA represented by Ibrahim Bossa. The conversation still continues. We can have this conversation online. I'm sure URA can answer your questions even there. But for now, this is all we could gather for you. But maintain the conversation online. My name is Olive Monica Najuma. Do stay tuned to Good Morning Uganda. We are still continuing.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja, a documentary film about our unity as Ugandans and Africans.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
The rulers of Bunyoro are actually Luos.
We people who live across the Nile, we are so related from our myth or from just the Nile.
We are the same people, and genetically we are even the same people.
We are similar people.
We are one.
Pamoja, we are one.
Use that word, Pamoja.
Premiering every week from 3rd February to June 2020. In the National Theatre. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, and it's time for us to check into the world of business. Good morning, it's Game Your Business. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. Yesterday, the traders in Kampala, downtown, under their flagship body, Kampala City Traders Association, or Kasita, were on strike. Now, many businesses were affected, and many of those who are looking for goods in downtown Kampala could not access them in the early hours of the morning because most of the shops were closed downtown. It did look like a ghost town for the many traders were on strike due to the IFRIS, and they want the Uganda Revenue Authority to come out and clarify or give more details on the same matter. Now, many of the traders do believe that IFRIS is becoming another set of tax, as the Uganda Revenue Authority believes it isn't, because it was a system that was rolled out to allow them and also make it easier for them to file their returns. However, many of the traders are continuing to show their dissatisfaction of the IFRIS and also are calling upon the government to check on the overtaxation in the country, because they do believe that these are some of the reasons as to why many are not surviving with their businesses. Besides paying too much rent, there is also an element of the taxation. Well, today is day 2 of that strike. We will wait to see whether it will continue as it was on Monday. Now, away from that, we talk matters new real estate tax, as experts in the real estate training and management have described the new proposed 5% tax on land and property transactions as a duplication of charges, which to them will suffocate the real estate sector, which has of recent registered a 6% annual growth rate. Now, this was during a media brief in Kampala to react on this proposed tax by those in the real estate business. Now, this was during a time when they revealed that the real estate sector, just after registering an annual growth rate of 6%, imposing such a tax will deter its growth in the next 1 decade. Now, besides that, when you look at the management and, of course, those in real estate training and development, expressed reservations on the proposed 5% URA tax on land and property transactions in the next financial year budget that will be kicking off in 2024 on 1st of July this very year. Now, from the Global Institute of Property Studies, Dr. Rachel Mirembe and Real Estate Institute of East Africa did reveal that the proposed tax will impose an extra charge on the businesses in addition to the already 6 existing charges of stamp duty. There is property tax, there is ground rent, withholding tax, capital gains tax, VAT, and rental income. Now, adding a 5% to the same will mean that many of these ones will not be getting any money or will be getting only a little from their real estate dealings. Well, we shall wait to see whether the stakeholders in the real estate sector and the government plus taxman will come to an understanding over the same proposed tax. And now, moving on, we talk matters financial services, as the government, which is committed at ensuring that Post Bank thrives by channeling the parish development model money through the same bank. When you remember at the initial stages of the parish development model, when the president threw this particular program, was to ensure that many of the Ugandans get into the money economy. Now, the access of these funds through the Post Bank is being looked at as the way the Post Bank will be thriving. Now, and others financed through the same bank, as it's now registering profits and increasing its lending capabilities, which clearly shows that it's taking the right stride as a bank. However, through the bank, though the bank is empowering Ugandans through loans, most of its clients are defaulting, according to details coming in from the financial managers of Post Bank. Now, banks are worried of the loan defaulters' impact, as they seem to be on the increase. According to Post Bank, an increase of 5% loan defaulters has so far been registered in the past few months. Now, this, however, has not affected the turnover, as the bank continues to register more revenue growth in the long run, with such government initiatives also passing through. And then you get to realize that many other individual bankers, as well as companies, are also now trying to change their options with Post Bank away from other financial institutions in the country. Now, besides that, Post Bank believes that the financial inclusion can be realized through investing in its Wendy platform, which they think is something that they should look at. Now, at least 7 billion shillings has been invested in this particular Wendy platform, and it is to bring financial services closer to the many people who are banking with Postbank. Now, still from the local scene, the East African Grain Council has embarked on a 3-year project which is aimed at expanding staple grain food production within the member states and beyond. Now, the $2 million project seeks to address the barriers of exportation of the staple grain, and the 3-year project aims at strengthening export-oriented staple food grains within the member states. They want to also address the bottlenecks which limit production and post-harvest handling, then also looking at how these grains reach various countries after there's been value added to the same, or even when the grain itself is exported. Now, with support from bodies like USAID, Trademark Africa, it is expected that by the end of 3 years, there will be more lucrative grain trade within the East African community and the neighboring communities, just like SADC, South Africa, as well as North Africa. Now, the Commissioner of Processing and Marketing at the Ministry of Trade, Dr. Joshua Mutambi, says that when you look at these timelines, they've actually given themselves of 3 years. The project will include addressing post-harvest handling, amongst others, but also looking at how the market is highly established for those engaging in grain export within Uganda, East Africa, and the neighboring regions. Now, well, lastly, from our business updates this morning, government is set to harmonize salaries for 12 public universities. Well, the government has allocated at least 61 billion Ugandan shillings to harmonize salaries of staff in 12 public universities. And in an April 3rd Ministry of Public Service letter addressed to the university secretaries in the public universities in Uganda, the Undersecretary to the Ministry's Permanent Secretary, who is Godfrey Kaima, noted that this money will be released in the next financial year, which will kick off 1st July. Now, the purpose of this letter, therefore, is to inform that a total of 61 billion shillings has been provided in the next financial year budget and heading to salaries for public universities. Now, according to the breakdown, Makerere University Business School will receive a lion's share of 14 billion, and it will be followed by Makerere University with 12.6 billion. Muni University will receive 6.3 billion off the lot. Chambogo University 6 billion, Lira 4.7 billion, and then Busitema 3.9 billion Ugandan shillings. Now, other universities will include Mountains of the Moon, which will only get 3 billion, Soroti University 3.8 billion, Gulu University 2.3 billion, Kampala University will be walking away with 2.2 billion, Mbara University of Science and Technology will be allocated 1.8 billion, and then the Uganda Management Institute will be allocated 1.3 billion Ugandan shillings. Now, on the other hand, and after receiving this news, the Chambogo University Vice Chancellor revealed that the funds would facilitate recruitment of more teaching and non-teaching staff. The Vice Chancellor of Chambogo is Professor Eli Katunguka, revealing that many of the departments, especially in engineering, architecture, vocational studies, science, art and design, are short of staff at Chambogo University. So when they receive this money, they will be able to at least add more of their staff in the next academic year with the intake of August coming up. Now, looking at what Chambogo University will actually be receiving, 6 billion Ugandan shillings. So when you look at that, they'll be looking forward to recruiting more staff in the next academic year as well. Well, this money will be allocated once the budget kicks off. First quarter of the national budget for 2024-2025 will be kicking off on 1st July 2024. So we're only left with 2 months to end the financial year 2023-2024 as we kick off for 2024-2025. Well, the public universities will definitely love to see more of that coming their way, because many have always been complaining that staff salaries have not been making their way on time simply because of few issues or very little money in the treasury in the country. All right, now lastly, from our business update this morning, we now look at the Forex market to see what is happening from the same. The US dollar was buying at 3,829.67 while selling at 3,839.67 opening time yesterday. Closing time, the US dollar was buying at 3,806.75 and selling at 3,816.75. The Great Britain pound was buying at 4,809.06 while selling at 4,821.70. Then looking at the euro, buying at 4,125.37 while selling at 4,136.21 shillings. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 29.28 shillings while selling at 29.35 shillings. As the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.47 shillings while selling at the same 1.47 Ugandan shillings. The South African rand was buying at 203.57 while selling at 204.11 shillings. So that is how you will find the Forex market as business opens this Tuesday, 9th of April 2024. Well, it's now time for the traffic updates. Chantal Oliver Kandinda is right here to give you more details on how you can maneuver through the traffic madness in Kampala this morning.
Good morning and thank you for watching Good Morning Uganda. My name is Chantal Oliver Kandinda. This morning, to make sure that as you're trying to make your way to town, we get the most perfect route or the easier route to use. But of course, we can't be everywhere, so we'll try and get the most central places that gather a number of people or gather a lot of traffic. So at the moment, if you are coming from Nambole side, I am moving with you and I'm here to let you know how you can maneuver. As you can see, Kampala Jinja Highway is okay from the Nambole roundabout. The only time you will be finding traffic is if you're joining the roundabout. If you are trying to maybe cross over to come to town, you will not be finding any traffic until you get to the junction that connects you to the Chireka roundabout. That's where you will be finding traffic, and that is heavy traffic as you're trying to make your way to town. Now, Chireka side is mad with a lot of traffic, just a few holdups, but then again, the biggest percentage of all that is traffic. Now, Chireka Road has a lot of traffic. However, when you get further inside, you seem to be okay, but further staying onto the main Chireka Road through Chireka Police Station, there is no traffic. I'm still on the Kampala Jinja Highway, as you can see, and I'm okay to move. Just a hold up that you'll be finding shortly before you reach Banda taxi stage is where there is some bit of traffic, and after that, slow movement of traffic all the way as you are sticking to Kampala Jinja Highway. After that, you are still okay to move. As you can see, the green zone always indicates that there is no traffic for you to worry about. Now, as you're approaching the part that has the Spear Junction, it's usually referred to as the Spear Junction. Now, that's the route that has a lot of traffic, as you can see. And as you're trying to join, there's a lot of traffic. So in case you have another route that you can use, I would highly recommend you do not reach the side that has Spear Motors. Now, if you're coming from Tinda Road, traffic seems to be fairly okay. As you can see, moving all the way. The only time you get to see some more traffic is when you are approaching that very same junction. But if you decide to use the Nakawa Jinja Road, you will realize that there is a lot of traffic in there inside as you try to move, getting into the route that leads you to Chinawataka side. That is why you'll be finding some bit of traffic. But after that, when you join Chinawataka Road, depending on the side you use, you are relatively safe. You can move the holdups inside there, probably because some of the Chinawataka roads are small inside. That is why you'll be finding bits of holdups. Short of that, you are okay to move. Continuing on Kampala Jinja Highway, as you can see, slow movement of traffic, but not much to worry about. And we are approaching Nakawa side. That is why you'll be finding lots of traffic. The interesting part is, if you are also coming from Nakawa side trying to make your way to Ntinda, most likely you will meet a bit of traffic, especially after Shell. But after that, there is not much to worry about. You will be okay to move. Now, further onto the lights, you will find just a bit of holdups because of the traffic lights. After that, you are safe to move, and a slow movement of traffic onto, now we are crossing over to the side that has Lugogo, or when you're trying to connect to Lugogo bypass or trying to connect now further onto Ginger Road, you'll be finding traffic on the side of Chadondo Rugby side. That's why you'll be finding traffic as you're trying to make your turn. But usually it's because of these lights. And as you can see, after that, you are safe to move, not very fast, slowly, but at least you will be moving, trying to get further onto Ginger Road. Now, the other part that will definitely have traffic is the junction that comes from 3rd Street. If you're still on the Kampala Ginger Highway, that is where you'll be finding traffic. After that, onto Ginger Road, the other part that has a lot of traffic is the junction or the turnoff that takes you to 1st Street. That is where you'll be finding traffic. And after that, there is a lot of traffic, as you can see, the deep red zones that takes you all the way up to the Airtel Tower Clock, or what we call the roundabout that has the route to Wampeo Avenue, but also the one that has that takes you to Old Port Bay Road or continues onto Ginger Road. That is why you'll be finding traffic. Now, when you get to the lights, you will be finding a lot of traffic as you're trying to use Access Road. If you are coming from Yusufulule Road, there is a lot of traffic. Coming from Nile Avenue, you'll be finding traffic. Also, if you try to proceed further into town, there is a bit of traffic, but later on, you're safe to move until you reach the junction that is shortly after Nema House. That is why you'll be finding traffic as you're trying to now make your way onto Kampala Road. Relatively, Kampala Road is safe for you to move until you reach the junction that continues to Kampala Road, but also takes you down to Entebbe Road. That is why you'll be finding a little bit of traffic. Luum Street is safe. Kampala Road is relatively okay for you, and you will be in position to move properly if you are taking that direction. Well, I can't go further than that, unfortunately, but that is it for our traffic updates. Hopefully, you get a route that is easier for you to move, especially if you are being chased by time. That's it. Coming up is Good Morning Uganda agenda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja, a documentary film about our unity as Ugandans and Africans.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
The rulers of Bunyoro are actually Luos.
We people who live across the Nile, we are so related from our myth or from just the Nile.
We are the same people, and genetically we are even the same people.
We are similar people.
We are one.
Pamoja, we are one.
Use that word, pamoja.
Premiering every week from 3rd February to June 2024 at the National Theatre and Indere Center. Daily screenings are from 4th February to June 2024 at Hams Cinemax and the National Theatre. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko Pamoja?
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala, we have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The cardinal role of a government is maintaining law and order, safeguarding citizens' rights and providing essential public goods and services. Throughout its tenure, the government has consistently upheld these principles. This foundation creates an environment conducive to delivering crucial social services to citizens through diverse approaches such as taxation, strategic budgeting, and effective policy implementation. A transformative education system, advancing healthcare provisions, enhancing social welfare, and propelling infrastructure growth, all of which continue to evolve daily to cater to the population's expectations. Supported by a meticulously organized network of ministries, government remains committed to serving its citizens. Coming soon on your public broadcaster, The Front Bench, your interface with the government every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with Joram Paul Sonko, only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Mutego. UBC Mutego.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now, just to remind you, we are always here from 6:30 and we move all the way to 9 with an extension of the extra. I'm Robert Cheravo Nyonyintono. Now, we are going to be looking at cooperatives, but to be more specific, we want to look at risk management in cooperatives. We've learned or heard or someone told us about cooperatives. I accept there is a gap in information regarding cooperatives, but at least you've heard of something like that. Some of you are in one form or the other cooperative, for example, the SACCOs. Many of you are saving in this, and these are cooperatives. But how do we prevent risks? Now, joining me on set, I have a panel of experts when it comes to cooperatives and risk management. But I'll begin by introducing the usual suspect, the man I named cooperatives, because I assume even if you woke him up from your dreams, from his dreams, it was just cooperatives. Well, that is none other than the General Secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance, Ivan Asimwe. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much, moderator. Good morning, our viewers. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Then on the extreme end, I have Francis Semwanga, who is the Business Development Manager at Cooperative Insurance Company. You're most welcome, Ivan.
Francis.
Francis, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much, moderator Ivan. Chirabo.
And
happy
just,
to be here.
And just next to me is Madame Nahabwe Sharon, who is the head of cooperatives at the Cooperative Insurance Company. You're most welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, moderator. Good morning, viewers. I'm happy to be here.
Well, having introduced my panel this morning, clearly explains that the people I have are very authentic when it comes to issues of cooperatives. But just a brief, when we talk about cooperatives, I'll begin with Ivan. Just a picture or someone to understand, who may not be well versed, or even if, but to know better, what are cooperatives?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo, and good morning, our viewers once again. I'm always happy to be here, and I'm always grateful. I really appreciate UBC for always giving us, the cooperators, this opportunity to really discuss issues of cooperatives. You know, previously, people used to think that cooperatives are not there, such things. But I'm very happy that actually UBC, you have given us this opportunity to really showcase to the entire country and the entire world that yes, we have very strong cooperatives, they are there, and it is only, I want to tell Ugandans, our viewers, yes, I know there are many development models, but if you are to develop a third world, a developing country like Uganda, with over 48 million people, majority of whom are smallholders, the best model is the cooperative model. The cooperative model brings everybody together in the equation. That is why it is better, not capitalism. It's not that I hate capitalism, because I studied capitalism, I did economics. But capitalism benefits a few at the expense of majority. And the capitalism can only benefit those ones who have reached a certain level, especially the Americans, the Europeans, when they are coming here. Capitalism works better for them because it exploits the majority at the expense of the other. However, cooperatives benefit all of the people, especially like if you are farmers, if you are teachers, if you are journalists like Chiraba and others, cooperatives do better. I'm very happy today that I have a team of seniors.
Ivan, before you leave, when you talk about journalists, the ordinary people, what are cooperatives?
Yes,
that's what I want from you for a start.
Very good. That is where now I'm heading to. Now, with the cooperatives, it comes from the word cooperation. Come together. Ageteri ningogati gufa in our language. Mwirira nechira mujanya. Come together because cooperation is power. In finance, when you say 1 + 1, it's not 2. It can be 3 or 4, 5 because of the synergetic effect. So that is the power of coming together. Now, what do we mean by cooperatives then? A cooperative is an autonomous association of persons, people, whether biological, whether artificial persons, who come together for their economic, social, cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned, you own it together, and democratically controlled enterprise. Democratically controlled means you elect your own leadership, the boards, the supervisory, and the vetting committees. Now, when you talk about cooperatives globally, the first cooperative society was established on the 14th of March 1761 in Scotland by the weavers. These are people who are working, and they identify that working individually will not help them. And then they come together, like I mentioned, cooperation, creating synergies, and they formed it. In 1844, in Rochester, still the weavers formed the formal cooperative. And then in Uganda here, 4 farmers in Mubende, because of too much exploitation, they said enough is enough. Let's come together, let's work together as a team, and they formed the first cooperative society called the Chinakuria. Now, when you come here in Uganda again, you talk about cooperatives. We have different types and forms of cooperatives. I want the viewers to understand this. When you talk about cooperatives, people just very fast go to these unions without understanding that even circles are cooperatives. So when you talk about cooperatives in this country, begin with the financial cooperatives. Those are circles, savings and credit cooperative organization. I'm trying to explain this, moderator, because at one time we were somewhere with big people. And someone mentions that a circle is this. Not the savings and credit cooperative organization. Then we have agricultural production and marketing cooperatives. Talk about Chibinge. I know you like Chibinge so much. Chibinge, Banyankole, Bugisu, East Acholi, West Acholi, Rango Cooperative Union, Wamara. There are so many in the country. Then you talk about the health cooperatives. We also have health cooperatives. And very soon we shall have a first-class hospital in this country, owned by the doctors. Then we have energy cooperatives. These cooperatives distribute power, like Chegegwa Energy Cooperative Society distributes power in 12 districts of this country. Then we have housing cooperatives. We have transport cooperatives, like Uganda Cooperative Transport Union, like our Kura Nume here in Kampala. So there are so many. We have water and environment cooperatives. There are so many cooperatives, and currently we have over 50,000 registered cooperative societies. You have all had the PDM circles, the PDM, the parish development model circles. These are cooperatives. Emyoga, these are cooperatives. Over 50,000 registered cooperative societies serving over 18 million Ugandans. So that's a very big constituency. So viewers, when we talk about cooperatives, this is a very, very strong sector, and many Ugandans, I want to thank many Ugandans, because many Ugandans have really understood that without cooperation, you can't move far. There is a saying that if you want to move very fast, walk alone. But if you want to go very far, work as a team.
No better explanation regarding what cooperatives are than what Ivan has really given. Now, this takes me to Semwanga. Now, we have the cooperative insurance company. Give us a brief background and what exactly you do.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Mr. Chirabo. And thank you, my director here. He's the chairman for Cooperative Insurance Company.
Okay.
And at the same time, the general secretary for Uganda Cooperative Alliance. So having him here, he endorses whatever we are actually talking about. Now, Cooperative Insurance Company is an insurance company for the cooperators. You know, I would love it when all Ugandans love the idea of being cooperators. Remember last time, when we were here, I said, it doesn't do harm for anybody to call himself or herself a cooperator, because that's where we started from. The grandparents, the patrons of the economy today started as cooperators. So, and then that's a good question. Where do we start from? What is CIC? And I told you the other time that for us to have a strong cooperative movement that everybody advocates for, we must have entities that support this cooperative movement. To be a circle or a cooperative union or a village saving something, you don't operate in isolation. You're operating within a circumference of so many individuals that are going to support you. There are certain cooperative unions that don't belong anywhere in this country. They are lost completely. Because if the General Secretary of UCA is here, and there is that cooperative union is not subscribing to UCA, then it is running its own race. For us as a cooperative, we move as a team. Now, What is this team? This team is we have cooperative societies, we have the apex bodies, and we have entities that are supporting these cooperative entities. And this is where CIC comes in. For us as cooperative insurance company, we look at, it is like a triangle, you know. And for us, we have understood, just like how our tradition is in Africa, you don't run your race. When you're running your race, your uncle calls you, your mother calls you. There are so many people to say, Chirabo, you're running your race. You know, better come back to the team. And so in the cooperative movement, we move as a movement. CIC is Cooperative Insurance Company. And that basically means that it insures as a priority all the cooperatives in Uganda. And then as an extension, because we can't exclude all Ugandans, as an extension, all Ugandans at large, whatever you have as an idea to insure, we do that. But we focus largely on the cooperatives, and we say, we want you to grow. You have started maybe a circle as journalists. We want you to grow. We don't want you to just run your race, disappear in thin air. As CIC, and Mr. Chirabo, you're going to pay. But CIC, being a cooperative insurance company, we make sure, because I don't want to use a very big jargon of insurance. When you talk about insurance, people don't understand what do you mean. But cooperative insurance company is there for the cooperatives first, and then second, for the entire movement, for the entire Ugandans, all the Ugandans. But we are there to see that nothing happens in terms of risk to these cooperative societies, be it a circle, be it a village savings and loan association, be it a cooperative union. We are here as a cooperative insurance company to support its growth. What happens when you set up a cooperative society or a cooperative union? There are several risks that are in there. And for us, as in cooperatives, we speak the language of corporation stewardship. It is not your company. And if anyone is out there who is the chairman or the chairperson of a cooperative, and this cooperative does not belong to any of the apexes, that cooperative is running its own race. And it should quickly say it is a microfinance institution. Because for us, we run our race as a cooperative movement. Now, number one requirement is when you're a cooperator, you belong to where all the cooperatives do belong. That is UCA, that is Ukusku, and any other apex body. Two, you must understand that you're holding the assets, everything that members do contribute in trust. And that basically means that when it comes to risk, you're not supposed to say, I am the chair, and so I can manage this risk. You cannot manage this risk. Everything you do have is in stewardship.
So in simple terms,
yes,
this is an insurance company.
I've spoken so much.
Of
yes.
the cooperators,
yes,
that its priority
yes,
is to ensure
yes,
the cooperators. That is it in brief. Now,
exactly.
this takes me to
maybe
briefly,
if you can just allow me to give a brief. Based on the strengths of the cooperatives, we the cooperators in Uganda thought it wise, especially by then I think I had just left the circle. So we asked ourselves, we are now a very strong movement. How can we consolidate our resources? And then we sat down and started an insurance company called CIC, Cooperative Insurance Company.
Yes.
As simple as that. Now, the insurance company CIC has got two subsidiaries, both life and general business. And they are all of these companies are regulated by IRA, the Insurance Regulatory Authority. So why we formed it literally was to consolidate our resources so that we become a very strong movement. Like I've mentioned, 50,000 cooperatives. These are so many. Now from CIC, now that we are happy, the insurance company is very strong, and soon it will be leading insurance because we have the numbers, we have the power of numbers. You know, cooperatives, some circles are bigger than commercial banks.
Ivan, I'll leave you at that.
Yes.
Now I'll come to Sharon. Now, Sharon, when we talk about risk management, we are discussing cooperatives today. And I know you've been a cooperator for so many years.
Yes.
And you began from the grassroots to all these levels. Now, help paint a picture or explain to us what are the likely risks or common risks that any cooperator must bear in mind and therefore become a member to the CIC.
Thank you, moderator, Mr. Chirabo. First of all, a circle is saving and credit. Saving meaning it handles customer money, savings. Credit meaning it gives out loans or it lends out to customers. So there are different risks that cooperatives face, both circles and different types of cooperatives. You know, when a fish is rotting, it starts from the head. So the major risk, I will talk about strategic risk. Strategic risks are entails of strategy, entails of the vision and mission of the cooperative, entails of the goals of the cooperatives. You can't move forward when you don't know where you are going. And where you are going will be within the strategic plan. Usually these cooperatives have 5-year strategic plan, which details what you are going to do, how you are going to reach there, and in case of anything, how you are going to adjust. And this strategic plan has to be understood by both staff and management and the board. This strategy will have a risk of how it is made. Do members, do the staff, do the board understand the objectives, the mission, the vision? If you enter any cooperative and you ask the staff or the board, what is your mission? What is your vision? What is your objectives? And they don't understand, you know that that cooperative will not last for long or will not grow. Because people are just there working, earning allowances, earning salaries, but they don't know where they are going. So that is number one risk, which is the major risk. We go to another risk, which is operational risk. In these cooperatives, they are run daily, day-to-day running of the cooperative. How do you serve your customers? How do you operate? Do you have policies in place? What is guiding you to operate on a daily basis? So the way you operate on a daily basis, how do you serve your customers? It's a major risk. Do you serve your customers in a quick way? If I come into a circle, how are you serving me? Do you have to make me wait for a long waiting to receive my money? Will you tell me to come back? I saved my money, but you are telling me to come back tomorrow, or in the evening, or after a week? Do your staff know what to do? Do I get my services better? That is operations, the processes. How do you do your day-to-day running of the institution? Then we go to another risk, which is credit. The major asset.
Yeah, I'm very interested.
The major asset of a cooperative, when we go to a circle, it's loan portfolio. It should be able to contribute like 70% of the assets, because that's where the revenue comes from. So loans, it will start from the assessment, the real process, initial process. How do you assess your customer? First of all, when I come to request for a loan, how do you handle me? Are you able to expose, to tell me details of the loan, the interest rate, the processes, other fees or charges? In most cases, these cooperatives or circles hide. You know, majorly, our community circles, our people say they have, maybe some don't understand English and those documents are not so easy. You're supposed to translate to the local language. Read for me. You see, this sentence is this. If you take this loan, you pay these fees. Your spouse will sign for you. If you default, we shall serve you like after a week. If you don't pay, we shall arrest you, all those processes. But in most cases, they don't disclose details, which is a risk. So that is initial processes, then disbursement. How do you transfer money to my account? How should I access the money? These days, there are advances. Some people can, after disbursement, they can withdraw from phones. They can apply from the system, from the phones. Then also, when we go to default, how do you handle your defaulters? I think you have heard in papers or somewhere where they grab someone, they just take you to hide you in a room, yet it is not allowed. Then also, when we go to credit risks, we say the portfolio quality, or how loans are, or how healthy your portfolio is, begins with you from day one as you're assessing a client. The staff can decide to access clients intentionally or unintentionally in a poor way or in a bad way. Say, Sharon, I qualify for a loan of 1 million, then I give a kickback of 50,000, and the officer will recommend 50 million, which I won't be able to pay back. And it will affect the circle performance or a cooperative. In the long run, the default will be high. There will be no cash in the institution. And some cooperatives or circles end up closing. That's why we see that those ones who open are very many, but the living ones now, you will find that it is like 60% or 70%.
If that is not a big percentage.
It might be higher than that.
I believe it's higher.
Because there is no record, which is...
These circles are closing.
Yeah, they are closing every day and now. Then we also go to reputational risk, where you find that how do the community see you? Do they trust you? Do they see you as a cooperative which is coming to steal? Reputation also goes to the way they see the board members, treat themselves, the staff. When you are out there, are you the person who is going to drink the whole night? You sleep there, they find you lying on the road. Will they trust you tomorrow? So reputation is so also a big risk which should be maintained, because usually when your repute is good, customers will just come in, you will grow in numbers, you grow in profitability. Then we also go to system risk, the way your systems are. How do you do your things on a daily basis? Do you have policies? How do you recruit? Do you recruit only your relatives? Do you make adverts out there? Do your members know what they are supposed to do, or things are just hidden there? You do
so we must say that there are quite a number of risks there. Now, what I'm interested in, Francis, I'm coming to you, is to understand how then you come in to mitigate this. Because when I go to my insurer, whatever I want to insure, my aim is that in case of uncertainty, this insurance company, my insurer, is in a position to get me to almost where I were before the calamity. For example, if I have comprehensive, if maybe I have an accident, I survive, my insurer will look at our terms, then I'm most likely to get a bike as the same as the one I was having, or better, even a better one. So now, when we are cooperators in our circle, say Chirabo and family, whatever cooperative. Now, maybe we've had issues and fires gutted our you know. Oh, we've had a Chitabo. When I talk about Chitabo, he knows the gentleman called Chitabo. In the management, we've had Chitabo. So he has swallowed the whole thing. We don't have accountability. So where do you come in and how do you restore us?
Mr. Charaba, you forgot something important.
Okay.
Human resource. Because in a day-to-day running, you can't run any cooperative without human resource, HR, which is the major risk. How do you handle your staff? How do you train them? How do you safeguard them? So it is a major risk on a cooperative.
Yes. Francis.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chiraba, moderator. And thank you, Sharon, for painting a picture of the risks in the cooperative space. Now, in the cooperative space, as you mentioned, and going back to where I was explaining, that we are running these cooperatives as a trust. Now, if you're running it as a trust, and it is not your company, but it's a company of the shareholders, then you know there are risks there for the business that you're running. And now, this business, if it is a circle, largely it is the loans. If it is a cooperative union, we can talk about Nyakatonzi Cooperative Union, Bugisu Cooperative Union. You're running a risk. Which risk? Farmers who are doing coffee, you've got outgrowers. Now for the companies like Chinyera, they have got outgrowers. But at least for you as a cooperative, you've got members who are growing coffee individually. Now when they grow coffee individually, they bring it to you. And I'm using an example, Bugisu Cooperative Union. They bring it to you. And they have various needs. You know, they bring it to you, you put it in a storage. And then you wait to transport this coffee. You have a license, export license. You want to export this coffee to maybe US or England or whatever it is. Now, the risk in there is that when members bring this coffee, and I use that example in the East, but I can also use one in the North. Practical example.
Be brief, please.
Okay. You bring this coffee, and you put it in a warehouse. Sadly, the warehouse catches fire. Now, you've got so many members, so many individuals that have brought coffee to you as a cooperative union. This coffee burns. Now, that's a risk. What you have to do as a cooperative union is to transfer the risk of fire, of theft, of burglary, of whatever it is, to a regulated insurance company within your space. Because you say birds of the same feathers fly together. We understand you. So you bring this risk to the cooperative insurance company, and we manage it. We manage from the farmers. We do agriculture insurance as CIC. We manage from the time you put the seedlings in the ground. If you lose, we pay as an insurance company for the cooperatives. Then if they come up and you still don't have a yield, we still pay as an insurance cooperative because you have lost. Then when you bring it to our warehouse and it catches fire, we still pay as an insurance company. What do we want to see? We want to see that our cooperators, the cooperative entities, are restored back to a financial institution where they were. You see? So then when we are making sure that in the warehouse, the coffee is safe, the SIM is safe, whatever produce is safe, then we look at the goods in transit. You're exporting these goods to the US, to wherever the market is. And as CIC, we're looking at these goods until they reach there. Should they not reach there, and there is a problem in between, maybe the truck has overturned, it is a responsibility of cooperative insurance company to make sure that the farmers that had put the produce in that trailer have been compensated, and nobody loses. Because for us, we are a risk mitigation company. Now, that is a cooperative union. What about a SACCO? A SACCO gives money to everybody. And you find a SACCO and talks about itself as we have 3 billion portfolio, loans portfolio. This money is scattered within the members. And the members are at large. They're in US, they're in France, they're in Congo. You do not have control how the members will behave, how they'll transport themselves. What about when you lose a member who has taken 100 million or 200 million or 500 million within this circle? What are we saying as cooperative insurance company is, if this member happens to take this loan and a risk happens, this member dies, we've seen it happen. Even within the cooperative space, we have got directors, we have got chief executive officers. In the last 1 week, we have lost 2 CEOs of cooperative institutions. Now, what happens when this person has got 50 million, and 50 million has been collected from the members' pool and has been given to him as a loan? Cooperative insurance company restores this entity where it was. We pay the outstanding loan amount to where this cooperative is supposed to be. So for us as CIC in risk mitigation, we make sure that our cooperatives, we've got so many, we've got so many that have lost everything, that have even collapsed. But that is before cooperative insurance company came. Now, when we have cooperative insurance company, we don't want to lose any cooperative because of a risk. It would be so disastrous for us to hear, however small this cooperative institution is, that it is closing because it never managed a risk. As CIC, we even train for free all these cooperatives that want an exposure into the risk. How do we manage risk? And thank you, UBC, for all these trainings.
Now, that was said. I'm at least happy that you...
Why did you cut me short?
Well, broadcast is about time.
Okay.
Now, Ivan, I see you're burning to supplement something. Let me release you.
Thank you so much. When Sharon and Francis were making their submissions, there is a lot that cooperatives are doing.
Yes.
Talk about agriculture, talk about circles, a lot of businesses. But you know that all these businesses are exposed to various risks. So I want to call upon Ugandans. Surely, if we are to manage our businesses very well, whether you are a member of a cooperative, whether you are an individual, please, you need to insure. You need to transfer a risk so that in the case of anything, you don't totally lose. I remember when I was still in the circle as a general manager, we lent out money to farmers and a catastrophe happened and they lost almost all the gardens. So what do you do as a circle? Do you close and go? So the only solution, fortunately, I had an insurance policy. And you know what happened? When my farmers lost, all the gardens were just down, I called the insurance company, they did the assessment, and they compensated fully. And I didn't lose. So cooperatives outside there, what are you waiting for? A risk, maybe for the interest of our viewers, a risk means that something is going to happen. It's an uncertainty. You can't know when it will happen. It's like COVID, how COVID came in. You even don't know what is coming tonight or tomorrow. So something will happen and it will affect all your plans. You had planned to travel, let's say, to move from this studio to office. You don't know what is going to happen on the way. You may get an accident. Are you insured? Are you safe? So that is ideally what I wanted to explain to Ugandans. Let us embrace. I know most Ugandans, when they talk about insurance, they look at the cost. They don't look at the benefit. That is how they look at it.
And maybe also some insurers have not been that very open. I must say some have had issues of feeling cheated. I'll give you a brief example. You have a motor third party on your car. I don't know how many of you have benefited from that.
Very few. Very few, really, yeah.
And sometimes I even don't want to pay it.
But it is compulsory.
It is compulsory. Because the police will stop you. But either you knock someone knocks you, you walk and get tired. So there's been also that bad tendency of people not seeing value.
Do you want me to take that?
No, I think it's not about value, Mr. Chirabo. It's about information. There is an information asymmetry. There's a lack of information. Because sometimes you even have a third party. Something happens, but you don't know. And you just take it as a loss. But if we had, and that is why we really appreciate UBC, that you give us this opportunity to come and especially discuss and talk to the cooperators to really know that this information is there, it is available, and this is how you can do it. So it's not that the insurance companies don't pay, but even ourselves, we do not have that information. So I want to call upon everybody, please let us share this information. Let the information be available for the benefit of both the individuals and even the insurance companies.
I would like to make a rejoinder.
Just briefly, because let this be your parting shot.
Thank you. I would like to make a rejoinder that in the beginning, when we started having bank accounts, so many Ugandans were fearing to put their monies into the banks. Right now, everybody wants to put a saving somewhere, be it a SACCO or a bank or a microfinance institution. It has become a trend, and it is beneficial. Now, the risk that is in the cooperative space, whereas most have appreciated, a few have not yet appreciated. And that is where the Director Ivan was coming in. That for those who have not appreciated that this risk is there, this risk is there, and they are not running their private businesses, they are running public resources that need to be insured. And we have told them, as CIC, we do give trainings, whether you're already doing business with us or you're not doing business with us. We simply train you on what the exposure is, what a risk is, how you're supposed to keep public resources safe. And that we have done. You told me not to be so elaborative, and I wanted to give you more examples. Can I give you?
In the interest of time, no. I'll just come back to Sharon as we move out of here. Sharon, your parting shot, but also I'm more interested also to discuss on this human, risk, because most of the challenges cooperatives have found, most at the grassroots, is human-caused problems. Some of them, you save your money, you come to a day when you're supposed to get the money, you have a book. You know where people put their money and how much, and some clever person decides out of knowing he can't account for anything to swallow the book. This is a live thing. GS can attest to what I'm saying. This man swallowed
it's true.
49 pages? 48,
yes.
40.
This 96 pages.
96.
That book.
Yes, because he couldn't have people.
Of a group, of a savings group. So it was 24th when all the members are seated and they are making accountability. They are very happy. They are getting their money to buy their meat and everything for Christmas. The man cannot make accountability. He has a book. So what he does, as they are pushing him for accountability, he's busy squeezing the book and he swallows it. Lack of accountability.
So, now for this, some just go into hiding and all that. So briefly factor in that in your concluding remark.
Thank you, Mr. Chirabo. You know, a human being is a difficult animal. You can see me here, but you can't understand what is in my heart. So to prevent that risk of human resource, you need to think about infidelity, guarantee, because of in case they steal cash, the staff, whom we can't understand, those tough animals. We have to talk about cash insurance, money insurance, because they handle money every day. They handle money. We have to also talk about, you care about their health, on medical insurance. Then because they always on the road riding, visiting clients, we also have to talk about group personal accident in case they get accidents. Then we also have to talk about group life because they spend most of their time in office. We also have to think, to plan for them in case of death. What should their families get? They shouldn't really get nothing when those staff die, employees, and also sometimes board are also considered, and members. Thank you, viewers. Please, we are there to serve you. Don't be there and you suffer the consequences of not mitigating your risk well. Thank you.
Well, your parting shot, Ivan.
Oh, thank you so much. Of course, as usual, I want to thank UBC for this opportunity. I want to call upon cooperators, wherever we are, let us embrace insurance. Let's avoid taking risks by ourselves, but let's learn to transfer these risks and use insurance companies. To all our viewers, risks are always there. The moment you wake up like this, throughout the day, there are very many risks. So how do you ensure that you mitigate these risks? Please, let's embrace insurance.
I want to thank you so much, gentlemen and lady, and our viewer. I don't have any extra time. I must say, maybe I'll just
give concluding remarks.
No. Okay. Francis, next time I will. There is a operator. He's called Joram from Masindi. He's kept calling me and he's saying, Robert, I want to know about our bank. Well, I'll have Ivan next time, and he will be talking about the Cooperator's Bank.
We are in high gear. We are moving on. We have done consultations. We are moving in. In fact, this month, we are going out. We shall meet him in Masindi. We are doing countrywide consultations. We want to have our bank up and running. The way we started...
I must get out of here. I don't want... Thank you so much. See you in the next hour. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso, every Wednesday live in our studios